Hey guys, Argus Gaming here, coming at you with another episode of Let's Play Slay the Spire. Today we're doing something different. We are doing a daily climb. I saw the modifiers for today were very interesting. It gives us a starting deck with a fusion of all the characters. We get a specialty card of each and diverse cards, which is basically Prismatic Shard. We also get the Deadly Events modifier, which is just more elites in unknown rooms, but also more treasure. So just thought I'd like to play a basic Prismatic Shard type of style run. Also, as a side note, this is me in post-production in the editing. I did this whole run and then figured out that I didn't have my mic plugged in. So I'm just going to be adding in comments now as I'm putting the video together. I may be a little quieter than usual just because I'm not speaking stream of consciousness as I'm playing. I'm putting these comments in later, but I'll try to basically walk you through what I was doing, my thought process, etc. So right now I'm basically just looking for cards for direction. I have an eruption that I can't really play unless I think I can kill, and the orb is pretty good early value. It's pretty good damage because I can evoke it so quickly, having only one orb slot. Here I've got this issue. I want to play corruption, but I don't want to take all the extra damage, so it's basically just a waiting game, and that's how this one goes. Considering the two cost cards we have that we want to play so much, Bash and Eruption, I decided to go for Turbo there for extra energy. But then we got a quick free upgrade and decided that among the options that I want, I still think Eruption is probably the best. I will have more energy after I play it, so I can get into lethal sooner. And that was my thought process. Though there were some other pretty good quality early upgrades there with Bash and Zap. And I think it worked out pretty well. This is what we wanted to see. Very smooth early combat. And our second reward, I went with armaments. I'm a big armaments fan, especially once you get an upgrade. We got big hands with our silent starter relic, drawing large cards on turn 1, so hopefully that means lots of upgrades on armaments. So took that. Now I'm looking for how can I get this armaments upgrade. Pretty easy combat there, and I'm definitely taking the cool-headed because we only have one orb slot that's going to evoke really quickly for lots of fast block. And it's also going to be really good when we upgrade it. with the armaments to draw even more. So a lot of times I'm going to be either looking to upgraded cool-headed, or even after I do have upgraded cool-headed, I'm going to be playing it a lot to maximize the amount of cards I get to use with armaments. So that's what's coming up soon. But until then, we've just got a pretty simple rat fight, and thankfully have just enough to avoid that big incoming damage. Now, I do have a little bit of a conundrum here. I want the spot weakness for future scaling, but I also want the empty fist because I know that it will make it easier to play eruption. And eventually I decide with the empty fist. This is pretty much perfect first turn for what we want with this deck right now. I got the eruption and also the empty fist, so I could kill on turn 1. We are way ahead of schedule and feeling pretty good about this elite fight. Shouldn't be anything too bad to get out from here. Just a little bit of blocking and attacking, focus on one, and then get the other. Here I am not really sold on any of these cards, and I decide to just go for a skip. I feel like the dagger throw is maybe a take, but we already have the armaments, so we're just going to go straight to the fire and upgrade that. That way we can get nice big upgraded hands, and we're just going to keep cutting our way through these Act 1 combats. Not a bad setup here. We're not very worried about the low damage from the angry gremlins. Shield gremlin can go next in priority, and first, of course, is that wizard in the back. But with our draw, with our upgrades, we've got more than enough tools to make sure that we actually have the damage to kill. And unfortunately can't use the eruption here. Still playing it a little bit safe. No reason to rush yet. Just wait for the correct moment. So we finally found a good moment to play that eruption again. ending combat quite quickly. And I am really having a hard time with this card reward, and eventually decide to go back and get that dual wield. I don't have a lot of attacks yet, but it is going to make that empty fist easier to get to. That's my main draw, or my main interest for that dual wield now. But it's also just solid for if you've got cheap attacks that are solid, like anger, or maybe you've got a claw, something like that. You just want to keep playing a lot. Anyway, we got the Gremlin Knob for our first elite, and not a bad draw. We can play all of our energy on attacks, do as much damage on turn 1 as we can. And here, probably just going to play that bash and take that 6. We only need to take 4 because of the frost. You always forget about that. At least I always do. Here I'm doing the math, but I think I'm a little bit shy. Even with the potions, I don't think I can kill here, going into Eruption or into Wrath. And eventually decide just to chill and bide my time. Don't even think I block here. I do use the armaments and the zap to do a little extra damage. Now I'm having a little bit more trouble. Thankfully, Empty Fist shows up. Still taking damage, and finally able to kill. But not the worst Gremlin Knob. I'm gonna take that recycle and eventually just decide to leave that bottled flame behind. It was basically, do I want to bottle, bash, eruption, or empty fist? And I was thinking maybe empty fist, but at the end of the day, couldn't do it. Had to just skip that bottled flame. I don't think it was worth it at all. Here I don't get the best draw, but this is where that dual wield does come in handy. Play that turbo for energy, then dual wield the eruption, only attack I have in my hand. And then I decide to just YOLO, use both of those on the guy in the front, and then use that extra energy from turbo to block, just in the hopes that I would get Empty Fist. And thankfully, I get it on the last card of my draw. I would not have got it any other way, except maybe if I had gotten that cool-headed. But worked out, never punished. Now I just need to focus down one sentry at a time, just like I did before. Nothing too hard. Here I do end up going with this dagger throw. I felt like walking away from that last one maybe might have been a mistake. And I can't walk away from 2 dagger throws in Act 1. So I do take that Silent Classic, get a nice big heal from that Regal Pillow. So I've got lots of HP to deal with Lagavulin. And we also get a great big hand turn 1. That's why we love armaments on the Silent. Unfortunately, because we did upgrade that bash, it does just enough damage to wake up, and we only had the dagger throw for the only other attack in our hand. So not the best wake up turn there. We could have gotten better splits, and we don't want to play that eruption yet, so we're just taking that damage. Good thing we got a big heal with the Regal Pillow. Turbo's been very helpful all Act 1. Even when it creates extra energy, it always means that we're playing basically every card in our hand. So when we get it, we're very happy. Now it does feel like we are close enough, and we have that recycle to make up a little bit more energy just on those turns we do need it. So it gives us the kill there without risking any damage. Again, a terrible relic. Tiny Chest is pretty bad. Of these, I am most interested in the Cut Through Fate. Devotion is just too slow, and the Battle Trance cuts off my draw. I don't want to cut off my draw. I want to keep doing it. So Cut Through Fate is the only thing that I might take, and I do decide eventually that it is worth it. It will help possibly getting these burns from Hexaghost out of the way. And for the upgrade here, I think I just go for the damage on Empty Fist. I changed my mind after thinking about Turbo, yeah. And now it's time for Hexa. First turn is pretty straightforward, nothing special about it, and not a lot we can do about this damage on turn 2 either. Definitely not going into Wrath, even with that Empty Fist in hand. Eventually decided against the weak potion, saving it for later, being a little greedy with it. And I don't really want to dual wield strikes, so that's a no for me there. Thankfully, with the Frost, we did full block. Evoking those orbs quickly means even for 1 energy, they can be pretty valuable. Nice big armaments hand. Again, just waiting and biding our time. Waiting for a nice eruption turn. Getting a little block for that burn, then adding vulnerability with Bash, playing the Empty Fist. Again, I really don't want to use dual wield on strikes and make even more trash. So, a lot of limitations on what I can play. Finally get a half decent hand here with lots of strikes and then lots of damage and block. So, can't be too mad about that one. Here, I do want to Eruption and Empty Fist. I should be doing that exactly. Taking damage, but because this is a 0, this is a daily climb, I am going to get a full heal. So I know that as long as I have 1 HP, as long as I make it through this act, I will be good to go at the start of the next act. But it does mean I have very little room for error. And I don't play a strike there. I had an extra energy and didn't play it. Wouldn't have mattered. I still have plenty of power to kill here. Second strike and Hex is dead. That's how you do it. And we are definitely going to be taking that Seek. We don't have great Seek targets right now, but when we do get them, it'll be really nice to have Seek and getting them immediately. Also upgraded because of Toxic Egg. It is a big reason why I take this Fusion Hammer. I definitely want to play more cards per turn, and I like gold, so I'm just not taking Ectoplasm. It's definitely a Fusion Hammer. What I'm looking at on this path, I want to get to an early shop to spend that gold. I've got 400, almost 500 by the time I get to a shop. I also want to get some elites and to get some campfires, so that's looking like a middle to right side of the map kind of deal here. So let's get started. And of course, at the start of Act 2, one of the most common pair of enemies you're going to run into are those two looters who are going to steal some of that money that you made and didn't spend in Act 1. So hopefully trying to make sure that we kill both of them here so that they don't take all of our money before we get to that shop. Seek is paying off already, letting me get cards, so I have very strong opening hand here. Unfortunately, I lose the Wrath debuff for the second Empty Fist, but it's still pretty decent damage. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Very good turn 1. I have more than enough energy to full block, but I decide to make sure I get a kill next turn. If he starts to run away, I don't want him getting away with my money. But he made a mistake. He stuck around, and we've got what we need to get the job done. Get our money back and skip all of this. We don't want any of that. Birds are another one of the more challenging Act 2 fights, especially at higher ascensions when they buff with strength and attack even more aggressively. Pretty brutal. You need 4 hits to get them down in Ascension 17 or higher. But if they have a slightly different pattern, as long as they're not all attacking at the same time or they're not all buffing at the same time, if one is attacking or one is buffing and the other two are doing something different, that's not too bad. It allows you to focus on one of them to get them down. And as long as you've got one of them down, then the other two will also probably have different attack intentions. They might be buffing, they might be doing a multi-attack, they might be doing a big single attack, etc. So once at least one of them is down on the ground, you don't have a lot to worry about. And this is A0, so not too much worry there. I've just got to make sure that I draw enough attacks to do it. And dual wield has been very helpful at making sure that I always have attacks. First guy does get back up into the air, but we're not super worried about that. Just going to take 6 damage. I think it was worth to make sure we end this combat quickly by getting a couple Wrath turns in. And another couple garbage card rewards. Nothing we wanted there. Here we do have quite a few good options. I like the Shrug. I like Crushed Joints. I like Card Remove. I also like Happy Flower. And I like the Bag of Prep. There's a lot of stuff I like here. Also definitely want to remove, and we're going to be getting a strike out. I think because I have 350 gold, I get both of the relics I want and the Shrug because it's on sale. Felt very good about that shop. Very solid shop. Bag of Prep plus Silence starter relic means we have absolutely massive hands to start turn 1, and very good chance of drawing that Seek very quickly. So the rest of the run, it is basically me trying to get Seek as quickly as possible, so then I can get to Turbo and drawing more cards and finding exactly what I need. And then once I am close to killing, I will go into Eruption or into Wrath, or whenever I get an Empty Fist. Using Dual Wield all along the way, duplicating my functional, I wouldn't say overpowered, there's nothing crazy like a Ragnarok in here or anything, but just very functional deck with some solid starter cards and, you know, common attacks that we've picked up so far. Dash is one of my favorite silent attacks. It's a very strong uncommon attack, gives you attack and block, and it is even better when you get Necronomicon. I'm really hoping for Necronomicon here, so I have extra HP, I take the damage, and we get Nilri's Codex. So I don't get the relic that I want, but still get a very good one. Nilri's is probably the best overall. And then we get another big heal with that Regal Pillow. Big first turn draw. I've got the Turbo and I've got the Cool Headed, so I'm going to play that first just to get more upgrades. Still didn't get that Seek yet, so now I'm just going to play what I can and do as much damage on turn 1. Get that bash in there. Probably should have done that sooner. And we're not very scared of this Book of Stabbing, but I do want more energy. So I will take that charge battery. These combats are going to slow down a little bit because of Nilri's. It does ask you to do just a little bit of thinking at the end of each turn. But I don't think it's always super necessary. When you know you are lethal next turn, you don't have to think about it. You can just skip. Or when you have a very small deck or a very small draw pile and you know you need to draw something next turn, you don't want to add more into it. You know, if it is something when you can just look at a glance at all 3 of the cards and realize that all 3 of these are terrible and I don't want any of them, skip. So you don't always have to be taking 30-minute turns just to, you know, min-max every tiny little thing. You can just save it for really important times. And if you do make more of it by going out of your way to, you know, pay attention to whether your stat relics, your counting is on a good turn for Incense Burner, or, you know, you're gonna have it Nunchaku ready for more energy for your next combat because you've got 9 attacks played, you only need 1 more, etc. Paying attention to those little things will help you squeeze more value, but not always necessary, especially on these low ascensions on daily climbs. I do have 2 strength potions, so I decide I don't need 1 of them. I will take that fruit juice for HP. And Wish is a very fun card. You can use it to either farm for gold, or you can use it to either get stronger offensively or defensively. So it does a lot of great things when you've got a Turbo in your hand almost every turn with all the draw we've got. Getting a Wish off isn't nearly as hard as it is in a lot of other instances. So we get to use it a lot here. And I think we usually use it for strength. My reasoning was when you want to use Wish to farm for gold, that's a very specific style of run. You have to stall out every single combat, waiting for a good opportunity to use Wish that also doesn't kill you. can be a very long kind of run, and I just wanted something kind of light and easy. I've been doing A20 Heart kill attempts on multiple characters and having little success. So I'm doing this as a little bit of a distraction from those kind of runs. And I just wanted something easy here, so I didn't feel like stalling every single turn just to get money. I wanted to get that strength. I wanted to scale up, and Wish was great for that. Nilry's coming through with a Wraith form. Perfect card for this situation, and he even got it with a dual wield. So rest of this combat, we don't have any real worries about damage. We can just, or I guess incoming damage, we can just figure out a way to do as much damage as we can to this terrible snake plant. Looks like just one more turn and then it will be all over. Drink that juice for the Gambler's Brew, then skip those cards. Don't need anything there. Bag of Marbles, great relic. We have great turn ones with our big hands. So getting free damage on turn one, as long as they don't have artifact. And if they do have artifact, it's a great way to get rid of that artifact. So I'm always happy to see Bag of Marbles. Here with the Gremlin Leader, I know that as long as I'm killing those gremlins, she is going to be very likely to summon. And if I can get into Wrath and stay in Wrath, I will almost always be able to kill, even with a strike. Maybe some of them might need two. But I want to stay in Wrath for this just because I know it'll be easier for dealing with those little minions, which will make dealing with her easier. Getting a little more strength from Wish. Turbo was amazing for this whole run. And Nilry's was great just for getting valuable cards as you need them. You know, as I said at length, you can skip a lot of these Nilry's rewards and be just fine. Uppercut, Empty Fist, and easy 3-turn elite fight over. Another Gambler's Brew. I think we're okay. We don't need any of that. And again, we don't have very much discard. So Eviscerate is out. We already have an empty card. And we're not really doing anything with Darkness. They wouldn't get big fast enough. We only have one orb slot, so nothing really worth our time there. Here it's more of the same. Big hand, big upgrades. Play as much as we can. Here I'm trying to get some strength from Wish and still play lots of cards. Also getting rid. Thinning the deck with that recycle was very helpful. Predator, hopefully getting a discount from Snecko here. And it does immediately. Free dash, free Predator, free defend, and a free dagger throw. Snecko killed himself there. We're gonna ditch the flex potion for the permanent strength, and we don't need any of these cards. We're pretty happy with our deck. We're just looking for big slappers. Can't do anything at that campfire because I have Fusion Hammer, so no upgrades, and Regal Pillow has kept me at full health all of this act. So there's really nothing to go to that campfire for. I wish I had some kind of campfire relic. With the help of that boat relic, we have lots of turn one block. And we also have Empty Fist in hand, so we're not at all scared. I probably could have killed with that strike there, maybe. But we're not worried. We're not stressed about this fight. We're even skipping those Nilry's cards because We're that confident. And then I don't draw anything. So, pretty sure I decide to just go for the kill. No, I think I just block here. That's right. I don't play the wish, I just block here. And I'm not really gonna waste a lot of time going all the way back around for it again as well. I just wanna finish this out. He's only got 6 HP. A little bit of plated armor, but with 2 attacks, we're fine. That's it. Crushed joints coming upgraded is very valuable. Having 2 stacks of vulnerable means that you can always get use out of it, even if you don't have lots of attacks this turn. That's the #1 thing. When you have the cards that give you vulnerability, like Beam Cell, like Thunderclap, etc. If the upgrade gives you 2 stacks of vulnerable, or if it doesn't give you an extra stack, that's a huge difference. Beam Cell is so much better than Thunderclap. Thunderclap only gives you 1 stack. If you draw it with a bunch of defense, it's basically useless. But Beam Cell is, even though it's only single target, it's 0 cost. It's 2 stacks of vulnerable. So next turn, even if you can't use it this turn, you'll definitely get something out of it. So that's why I'm always happy to have a Crush Joints in the deck. And it's going to help us up our damage. We don't have a lot of damage in our deck, really. And we're also kind of relying on Nilry's additions to supplement our deck. Our potions I'm pretty happy with. And I like a Core Surge. We don't really have anything specific to work it with. For example, you know, like a Bias Conk or whatever Wraith form that you might think of. But I just like it. I like the artifact. It's going to be useful for blocking incoming debuffs. Blocking vulnerable from other enemies is really useful for making sure you don't die. There are some really scary turns. And if you're taking 50% more damage on those really scary turns, it might not be a very long run. You see what I'm saying? So, took the Core Surge there, also just a little extra damage. It's a rare attack. It's not crazy. Not a game-winning attack by any means, but it's fine. Also using it right away, not like saving it. I don't have a specific use for it in mind. I know that Champ does a lot of debuffs, so it's gonna block 1 of them. I do go for the Brutality here. I figure I've got enough HP. I came in here full HP with the Regal Pillow. I'm not worried about healing. So it'll just help me draw bigger hands, and I can play lots of attacks, hopefully. Couldn't, in all good conscience, play that Eruption there. I think we are... I don't know, maybe I should have checked the draw pile. It would have been okay. I would have gotten the Empty Fist, but... still better to play it safe if you're not sure. That's the thing, if I had checked the draw pile, I would have known, and we could have gotten some more damage in here. I think we take that just for the draw mostly, but it will help if we do get the Eruption, which we immediately do. Add the Crush Joints first. We missed a little damage, but it does give us that stack of vulnerability. I think we do take this Bias Cognition here. We are not doing lots of orb things, but we are doing No, we don't do it. With our Dark Embrace that we got from that Nilries, we end up going for the Reckless Charge, just to see if I could get more draw with those Dazed that it will add into my deck. I was thinking about that Bias Cog, though. I was thinking about it. I just didn't think we had enough orbs really going through quickly enough now. It was really good at the beginning of Act 1. But now, even just 20-ish cards in the deck, especially now that we're adding statuses to the deck, I don't think it was really going to work out. But because we do have some strength building up, I was really excited to see this Fiend Fire. I didn't even really worry about too much, you know, is this a good turn? Are these cards I want to keep or not? I just wanted to do a big damage turn, and it was enough to kill. And right away, I see 3 great cards. I want all of them. I want all of them for different reasons. Nightmare can be completely silly, especially with something like Wish. Alchemize is just great, consistent value, especially upgraded. You get a free potion every fight as long as you draw it. It's various random potions, obviously, but that means if you get bad ones, you use them, and you'll just get a free good potion next time. Vault is also great for draw insurance when you get a bad turn. Decide to just go with the easiest, most general best choice and go for the Alchemize. And the only real choice here was the Slaver's Collar. We didn't have any zero-cost attacks really to work with, and I think the other relic was just not that interesting. I cut out a quick bathroom break there at the beginning of Act 3. I'm just looking for the quickest path out. Don't really care very much about elites or campfires, so I'm just looking for quick, easy paths to get out. And this first combat is a super easy one. I've got lots of draw, I've got my Seek, got energy with turbo, etc. And I'm going to be able to use this double tap to get a turn 1 kill here without even using the turbo. Double Eruption, Core Surge, and Empty Fist dead. Hologram is a great pickup here, upgraded with Toxic Egg. Super functional in any kind of deck. Tiny Chest doing its first thing all run and giving me Meal Ticket, which is useless because I already have healing from Regal Pillow and I am full strength. Here we are going to definitely lose Shrug It Off. Crush Joints is just too vulnerable, giving all of that. Valuable because it gives vulnerable. That's what I wanted to say. Here I spend a really long time in this shop, so I'm just going to cut it down. All I end up doing at the end is removing a strike and taking Cold Snap. So I'll just skip right to that now. If you could say that this deck has a bad turn 1, this is probably it. Not a great turn 1 draw, and it's still pretty good. I think I misplayed a card there. I wanted to play that Empty Fist, but I misclicked, and still not too upset. Turbo for that extra energy, get rid of a defend, start working on the Expulsor, and while we have extra block, start working on the Spiker. Don't need any of the Nilrees cards. We're just trying to scoot through these combats as quickly as possible. Free chance to get some money. We've got a shop coming up in a little bit, so why not? Free strength if we need it. We can kill one, get a potion, and don't want to play the Eruption and take 14. So we're just going to... what? End turn. I do full block with the Frost Orb, thankfully. And now we are slowly playing attacks. Whittling the Spiker down. And we are finally going for the kill. I somehow... oh, there you go. With the lightning. Didn't even need to use an attack. Shockwave, great ironclad card. Didn't even take any damage, but we take no other choice but to take the heal there. Again, I think we're probably fine, but I just want to steam right through. Don't need that fire, so now we're taking on Spaghetti Monster. The run is getting a little bit longer at this point. Around an hour, but also I was just in a rush to finish. I want it to be done, so I didn't spend a lot of time thinking very much about, especially this fight, where you probably should be more careful. I did my best, did not play the Eruption there, because the attack will always be random. You just never know what that will be. You need to make sure that you can hold back an attack in case he is about to curse you and you want to change his intent. Here I just, for some reason, run out of energy. I just never pay attention. And didn't use any potions, didn't do anything, just let him curse me. So I was not paying attention at all, not following my own advice. Yeah, you did that. I'm not going to use the Seek here to just draw 2 cards that I'm going to get next turn anyway. And enough to mostly block. I'm fine with that. Seeing red is just nice, easy energy. Looking for something here. That defend is just easy block. I don't want to play a lot of cards because I know I'm more likely to make him just do more damage. There's some much stronger attacks he can do. So now I'm just trying to figure out if there's any more ways I can reduce his damage. And I think the only thing I can really do is get lucky, very, very lucky, and swap to a single attack and also get a block card. But that was not the high percentage play, I don't think. Probably should have just stuck with the multi-attack. But sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good. Turbo was one of my main seek targets, especially when I had cool-headed in hand, or if I needed something specific, like maybe I wanted a dash, or maybe I wanted eruption just to end a combat quickly. Seek was so useful. The rest of this fight is a little bit easier. Also, I don't think they can attack you with or curse you a second time. So you don't really have to worry about the curse once you've already got it. You just have to worry about blocking. And I think I was so caught up with blocking, I just forgot about the curse. And now that's no longer an issue. Because I think from here on out, there's no damage taken. At least not in this fight. Finally, after a long time, we do get through it, and the card awards are not great. Prostrate, I'm usually a big fan of, but not here. We're not going to get another Prostrate. We're not going to get another Divinity card. And I just want to continue, so we take that Ornamental Fan, rest those 3 HP back. Tiny Chest, another pretty useless relic. At this point, we're going to campfires just to go quickly. We don't really need them. So another campfire relic, it's giving us cards, but we already pretty much have everything we need, so. Not sure if there is a shop later. There must be, but don't use the strength there. Do have the extra potion. I want to remember that he's going to use that constrict debuff, which does 10 damage every turn at the end of your turn. It's very annoying. Adds a lot of extra damage that is hard to block. 16 isn't very hard. 26 much harder, and it doesn't get affected by weakness or anything like that. So it's always a flat 10 before his main attack, which makes blocking his main attack even harder. So, very glad I had that artifact there for that. One of the more annoying debuffs in the game. It's right up there with Snicko, Confusion, and the hexes from the Chosen. Getting hexed is very annoying. Getting all those dazed for non-attack cards can really slow down your deck and ruin your run. I would say this guy is third on that list of annoying debuffs. After a little back and forth with myself, I do decide to go for this footwork. It's just hard to say no. It's pretty decent block, and even if we're not going for the heart, it's nice to have. Here, Echo Form is just impossible to say no to. I also get some upgrades with War Paint and Medkit. Great for getting stinky status cards out of my hand. With 150 gold, I've got about enough to do all that, I believe. Don't get any removes, that's right. But we do get 2 relics and Echo Form. Very nice finishing touch to these decks. Didn't want an elite, so I went to the event and I got an elite anyway, because this is a daily, and elites were just extra likely to spawn in unknown rooms. So, ended up getting the same result. Big armaments hand. Want to get this wish off if possible. Now we know there's no more shops, so we can go for the strength here. Trying to do our best turn order, because I know how the damage will increase with the slow debuff that he gets, and hoping that we can either kill quickly enough or find a way out of Wrath so that I can just use that eruption there. Don't get it here immediately, and it's a little worrying. Decide to try and dig a little deeper. Still nothing. I could use dual wield on dash, but then I won't actually have the energy to use both dashes. But it is still an attack worth having 2 of. So eventually I do go with that, as well as a block on top. I don't think that's quite enough to full block. Ah, there we go. Use the potions. That's right. Alright, strength with that. Riddled with holes will do nicely at the end of this turn. And like I said, when you are evoking orbs really quickly, you only have 1 orb slot. It's really nice for getting quick damage or quick block with those lightning and frost orbs. Now I can use that dash. Lots of block. And the riddled with holes end up being very, very hefty. Played at the end of a long turn there. Not really much to think about there. We're pretty close to the end here. We just want to put Big Head out of his misery. We get a free turn for Echo Form here. Very nice. Not a lot to draw into with Seek, unfortunately. So we just bash and Core Surge. Phantasmal Killer might have been... it's probably, I don't think we needed it. I think we're going to kill here, so... yeah, 2 Empty Fists, usually enough to do it. Ninja Scroll shows up out of nowhere. Would have worked with Wrist Blade back in Act 1, but we didn't take that. And we're very happy we didn't. We didn't want that Wrist Scroll. Or not. Wrist Blade, that's what it is. Evaluate is just a solid block card. I would do like it attached to some draw. Our final rest. And nothing we really want. So, great. Right away, we start by playing Wish, going for that strength because this is our last fight of the run. Armaments on the whole hand, and there's not a lot more block we can do, but we may as well just do as much damage as we can. A little more block from Ornamental Fan. And we actually can full block if we use this hologram. Also thinking about next turn and how many cards I will have to play. So I decide to actually just take a little bit of this damage. I don't need to full block. And I've got the weakness potion anyway. So I will end up taking no damage. Headbutt I love for getting into the discard pile. Same reason I love hologram. Just such a great function. Here I have only a couple cards in my hand, so I want to get ready for the next turn. Anything good I want to use with Headbutt. Probably, yeah, I was thinking that Turbo. Want to play that as much as often as I can. Nothing super interesting there from Nilrees. Skip on those. Do take the heal hook. He is weakened, I guess, so. Now he's back at 0 cards played. I can play without worrying if I'm going to get to that limit or not. Here I've got lots of energy, so I'm going to get that echo form in when I can, as well as alchemize. A little bit of plated armor never hurt anybody. And with dash and survivor there, I end up full blocking. Excuse the cough. Never saw a hologram that I said no to, so very happy to see that. Even unupgraded. At this point, we don't really mind. This fight is not going to last much longer. Here, I'm not given many cards to play, and obviously I don't want to play Empty Fist before Eruption. So, because the first card was doubled, ended up being the best way to get block and do as much damage as I could. Fresh set of cards, so we can play as much as we want. Last power. Again, we get a free Core Surge to help block incoming debuffs. Another reason we didn't take very much damage this fight. Not being frail, not being weakened. Much easier to deal with the attacks. Hologram back. More block with dash. Cold snap for good measure. And reaching the bottom of her draw pile. Getting that heal hook we just got. And we're going to say goodbye to it. Probably not going to get back all the way around to it again. Don't need any of those cards. Now we're just trying to end this combat. Don't think I can kill on this turn because he's just going to heal back to half health. So it doesn't really matter what I do here. We're just trying to get 3 cards played. Skim is going to fit very nicely into this. We did always want just a little bit more draw. Sometimes we had just a little bit too much energy we didn't have anything to do with. And not much to do on this turn. We just build up some block and wait for the appropriate draw. Cold snap will be okay for getting block, but again, not great damage here. We do have this fairy in the bottle we've been holding on to for a while, but we don't really want to use that. We would like to kill this guy a little bit sooner, but the debuff on our draw that he's been giving us is very, very troublesome. And it's one of the reasons that this fight is meant to not go on very long. You want to have good scaling so that it doesn't get to this point. Because if he starts lowering your draw, that will make it much harder to deal with his antics. Here I was just doing a little bit of quick math about whether I should do spot weakness first and then the limit break. But I think it was clearly double the limit break and then the spot weakness was the correct math in the end. And I do think I get there. But anything that says double on it is usually going to be very, very strong. So doubling twice and then adding 4 was much better than adding 4 twice and then doubling. Now that I've got all that strength, I'm really not stressed. Even if we do take a lot of damage here, I know that it is just a matter of time before I draw enough attacks at once. And when you've got 19 strength, that's not very many attacks. Here I've got the insight, so I can draw a lot. Then I will use that with Crush Joints for the vulnerability. That's what I thought, right? There's the Crush Joints, yes. Dash is good damage and block. I'm running out of card plays here, so now the best I can do is just to use that survivor and then evaluate. I am taking a lot of damage here, down to 1 HP. I do still have that fairy in the bottle, but I'm hopefully not going to need it. We got lots of draw here, new card counter, energy from Turbo. I'm just desperately trying to draw into more attacks. Dagger throw didn't work out for me there. Cut through fate got me an empty fist, and it's over. Good night, Time Eater. As always, thank you guys for sticking around and watching all the way to the end. Please leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff down below. And have a great day. Thanks for watching Ruckus Gaming.